Hey guys, just want to let you know how excited we are to get started with the first day of pads. I know for me this is always a high energy day for myself, for the coaches, for the players. Um, when you get into kind of some of the real action of football that we all love and enjoy, our guys have been working extremely hard. I think they've done a good job really across the board, but really focused on just improving, as KO says every day, just getting a little bit better every day. I think, we've got young guys doing that. We've got our vets leading the way as far as um, building routines and, this is what I'm doing pre-practice, this is what I'm doing post-practice, this is how I'm watching film. So we're getting good leadership from our veterans and our young guys. They're coming along, but today's a big day.
You mentioned the energy that goes with pads going on for the first time. For the defensive backs, how much of a teaching tool or an evaluation tool does that become when the pads go on? How do you use that as you're going through with the DBs?
Well, the game's all about tackling. So obviously won't be tackling out here today, but, to see if they're in position to tackle someone, which what goes with that is being able to control blocks, shed blocks, and be in position to tackle good receivers, good backs, good tight ends. So certainly an opportunity to evaluate that from a controlling blocks, shedding blocks standpoint, but also an opportunity to see guys, hopefully put hands on some of the receivers in some of our coverages where we're looking to reroute and disrupt the timing. It's a timing offense. It's a rhythm passing league. So anyone who's using physicality to disrupt that timing is doing something that's being taught for sure.
You guys have talked a little bit about playing more man coverage. Does this become kind of an area to teach that in terms of techniques you want with press and reroute, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you can certainly get some of that taught without pads or in the shells, but definitely with pads, a little bit more. You can be a little bit more physical, and that's real football. So that's what we evaluate today is as close as you can get to what we'll do on Sundays in the fall. So, and that's what we tell them, and we're trying to fuse communication and playing high IQ football with also playing a physical brand of football. And that was the message this morning, and I think our guys have done a really good job up to this point. But we're trying to improve every day, and today's a big day.
What's your familiarity with Bobby McCain?
I was with Bobby in Miami. Love Bobby. Bobby loves playing football. He's smart. He's physical. He's played multiple positions over the course of his career. A lot of familiarity. He's got leadership for sure. Communicates well. I was excited that we had an opportunity to get him, and I'm glad he's here.
He moved to safety for you. Do you see him as a safety or a corner or just wherever he fits?
I love the versatility that the fact that he's played several positions. He'll start at safety, but you may see him in there at nickel. You may see him, matched up on, certain guys. Even day one, there's with a vet guy like that, there's just a conceptual understanding of things that any defense, does or can do, and he's already got a pretty good feel, and we'll see some of that today. But excited to have him.
What thought of Theo Jackson going back to the spring?
I think Theo's done really going back to when I first met him last year, there's been an incredible amount of growth, an incredible amount of just improvement. That's probably the best term to use for him, improvement in really all facets of his game, but really off the field as well. Anyone who watches Theo work, from a meeting standpoint, from a training standpoint, from just an understanding of concepts and knowledge of the game. I think he's starting to put a lot of things together. He's growing in confidence, which that comes with preparation, and he prepares the right way, and he's showing up on the field.
Ron, what are your thoughts on the safety group in terms of their depth and performance in camp so far?
You know, that's we lean on that group. Those are the leaders of the team. That's our hub of communication. We strive to be a defense that can be multiple and change, coverage, front structures, and that starts with that group. Between really, all of them, you've got a lot of versatility, but there's a toughness, there's a tenacity out of that group that, and a play style that that I love. And those guys, they've done a nice job so far, but they're hungry to do more. Whether it's Metellus, whether it's Harry, Beasley, Theo, Lewis, Jay Ward, he's gone in there and done some good things already, and now Bobby. It's a very good group.
Learn about where Dallas Turner stands in his evolution when the pads come on and they can really start to go at it?
I mean, I know quite a bit already. I know he loves the game. I know he studies the game. I know it's important to him. I know he asks the right questions, which lead me to believe that he's going to, get himself in good position or find a way to get himself in good position. And then he's very talented. I think the pads, feeling the length, the strength, the instincts of NFL offensive linemen. I think there's a getting used to that factor for every rookie, and it's no different for him. But I think he'll answer the bell because that's what he does.
How did you finish the season last year thinking about a Caleb Evans, and how has that changed at all over the course of the spring and into the summer? I thought Caleb did a lot of good things last year. I think there was a lot of growth and improvement from him from, when I got here, through the spring, through the season. There's always ups and downs for every player. I know he got banged up there. I forget what game it was. But that's life in the NFL, and I think he's bounced back, and he's strung some good days together, and we're gonna need him, and he'll be there for us. So I'm excited about it, Caleb. You can't teach that height, that length, and his speed, and like all of us, he's working to be as consistent as he can possibly be, but that's across the board, and that's what training camp's for, is to continue to work those techniques and fundamentals, communication. I think he plays best when he's having a good time. And so let's go out here and have fun. You've been doing this since you were a little kid.
Does the league still have the rule where you can't press like in OTAs and early in camp? Do they still have that?
I know the exact, because I read these memos. Like, I go over them with a fine-tooth comb. So you can put hands on, you can't impede or impede a lot, essentially, in OTAs, in the early part. So, look, I think, for us, we just try to work the technique, and we talk about, hey, when we put the pads on, we can do a little bit more here. We can get a little bit more of a jam or a chuck here, but try to stay within the parameters of those rules for sure.
Is it open now? I mean, you had last week.
Yeah.
Is today the first day that you can do it like you would do in a game?
Yes. So quick jams and, really trying to be physical at the line of scrimmage. But I don't know if with Jets and Jordan Addison, I don't know if you want to go up there and try to quick jam those guys. So you got to pick your poison on some of those techniques, and
who you're up against and what your skill set is. But yeah, we always want to be physical. We always want to put hands on receivers. Again, like I said, it's a rhythm passing league, and if you can get the offense off rhythm, you put yourself in a little bit better position.
Can you teach that art or that the way you want to teach it with that restriction? I mean, how does that affect your ability to teach that?
You're trying to go down a rabbit hole. I mean, look, the rules are the rules, and I think we've got to, do the best we can, given what those parameters are. I think every coach always wants to do more. That's why we're out here. I mean, I could sit out here all day and do press coverage, or block protection, or block destruction, or I could do that all day, but there's rules in place for every team. It's fair, and we got to do the best. That's why I talk to our guys about being efficient with our time, efficient with your individuals, efficient with your meetings, because we don't have a lot of time to get a lot done, and that's a technique for a corner or an outside backer or a defensive lineman. The time constraints are what they are, and do the best we can with them, and still try to disrupt the timing of receivers, tight ends, and backs.
The way you used Josh Metellus last year, do you think there's more yet that you can unlock as far as different varieties of contributions?
Certainly. I think we, for lack of a better term, we experimented with a lot of things with Josh last year, and he answered the bell in every way possible. And so now you get an off season, to think about more things to do with Josh in conjunction with several other players, and he wants to do more. He asks for more, and oftentimes we got to kind of reel him in, which is a good thing. We got a few guys like that, but yes, I think there's more meat on the bone. To steal a term from Mike T, and he wants to do it. So I'm happy to oblige.
Do you approach things any different when you're calling plays out here when you're going up against JJ, who is a rookie in developmental mode?
One more time.
Do you approach things any different when your defense is going against JJ, who is a rookie in this mode? Do you approach it any different?
No. I think this time of year is about technique and fundamentals, and how will you ever know if you can press JJ or Jordan and get up there if you don't try it? I think in game it's somebody always over the top, or some type of trick coverage towards him. But now we gotta let guys cover and see what happens. And obviously he's one of the best receivers I've ever seen play. So he's gonna get his regardless of who's covering him. But I think we're all competitors, and I don't want to tell our guys, hey, you can't cover him. So we're always going to keep somebody over top of him. Let's go up there and see what we can do. And I think that's a good thing. But in season, he's getting doubled.
When you have a rookie quarterback like J.J. McCarthy going up against this defense when it's multiple looks, what do you think that does for lack of a better term, a crash course for him in the NFL, just getting used to what life is going to be like with defenses he's going to see when he takes the job over?
I'm hopeful, and I've had several conversations with JJ, and I think you were talking about JJ McCarthy now. Yeah. So now I'm like revisiting that whole thing. Yeah, hopefully the mix allows him to look at a defense, have an idea of what it is initially, but there's always tells. There's always a guy, and that's what I'm looking for. There's always somebody who's giving it away, and hopefully he can start to find who those guys are. and put himself in a more advantageous position, whether it's a tell on a safety that it's cover 2, or a tell on a corner that it's cover 3, or leverage here that tells him it's cover 1. Or, when that guy's blitzing, he's always looking in here. There's little things like that, we've had some of those conversations already, that there's always somebody. There's 11 guys out there. Somebody's going to give something away. As defensive coaches, like we're trying to, we're trying to talk about that so much that, we limit, the amount of people as much as we can, but inevitably there's always a tell. So you either spin the calls, which we do that too, or, but I think it's great for the quarterbacks to kind of see that, and I think it's a great learning environment for them and for us.
Last couple. Him coming to you asking what you think, or how do those come about, the conversations with JJ?
He's come to me on a couple occasions and just, my thoughts of, some areas he can work on based on how we see it defensively, or we see him defensively or see him offensively, his strengths, his weaknesses, and just, some things that, maybe we feel as a defense that a quarterback can do to make things hard. He asked the right questions. I think he's about the right stuff. And, I'm excited to see him work. But I like a lot of things we see out of Sam and Mullins. He's always a problem out there. And Jaron, too. So I think we got a good group. It's great to compete against these guys on a daily basis. And, look, feedback this time of year, offense to defense, I think that's one of the best things about training camp.
Brian, sorry to ask this already, but just first day of pads, what does that bring? How different is that in practice?
I said earlier, I think everyone's saying the same thing in the first day of pads. We want to be the most physical team on the field. You're saying that offensively, you're saying that defensively, you're saying that in the kicking game. We're saying the same things, but I'm telling our guys, and the message is we want to fuse that with high IQ football as well. We ask a lot of the group, so can we, check the defense and still play physical? Can we slide the front and still play physical? Can we, make a call to a bunch or a stack or empty and still play physical? And there's layers to it. Everybody wants to be physical, but when guys are jetting in motion and you're thinking on the fly, it's hard to, have a great get off and, hit somebody in the mouth, So that's what this time of the year about. It's about kind of putting all those things together. And inevitably, we're going to get some good communication and bad physicality, and good physicality and bad communication, and we're just on a daily effort to put it all together.
In your experience as a defensive coach, is it common for quarterbacks or other offensive players to come to you for those sort of questions, or would you say what JJ has done is uncommon or typical? Or
in my experience, I try to seek out that position because I'm trying to again, like I just mentioned, that feedback this time of year. Is there anything that we're giving away? Is that pressure hard? Why is it hard? What would beat it? So I think, all the places that I've been, I've tried to initiate that conversation. I think that, as coaches, I know that those conversations are constantly, KO and I are constantly talking about, what if we did this? Or what if we did that? He's saying the same thing to me. How's that? And I'm like, oh, that's going to be a problem. I got to get that fixed, and, that kind of football chatter that's what we love about it. So is it unfounded? No. But I can't speak for other places. I know wherever I go, I'm always looking to get, football conversation and try to get any little edge I can. And hopefully they're trying to do the exact same thing. I know they are, actually. And it's all the best time of my life. So that's it. Good. Thanks, guys.